So choosing a favorite of 1983 is not possible for me. Maybe because I was 14. You know, there are just too many memories. The choices were also just so varied. They were so impactful. It's impossible to choose. And so I settled on the songs that stitched together my story of going from a junior high schooler to a high schooler. Just some of the many, many songs that carved out a space in my adolescent heart. So even though we were supposed to pick 3, that was literally impossible for all of us. Mm-hmm. None of us did that. Everybody just like settle in, grab a pillow, because we're going to be here for a while. So I put my songs into themed categories. And the first category that I would like to talk about is called, I'm scrolling. So, my category is called boys. Boys. So I'm cracking myself already. I'm cracking myself up. Only You by the band Yaz from the UK. I fell in love with, I'm not going to use his real name, Ronald McDonald. We're going to call him Ronald McDonald.
Oh.
I fell in love with Ronald McDonald to this song. My quote-unquote Ronald McDonald crush was like a full-time job when I was in 9th grade. And this song, Only You, was the soundtrack to that crush. It was so delicate, so poignant. It was so different in its approach to a love song. And it was actually the first song that married electronic music and a ballad. And this was a signal to me that a new era in music was here. It sounded like something from a John Hughes movie, which was just around the corner. 16 Candles wasn't here yet, but it was on the horizon. And Ronald McDonald was the reason I had no absences in the last half of 9th grade. I couldn't imagine missing school. How would I see him? So in the U.S., Only You peaked on the charts at number 67. So although it got a lot of radio play in my area, it still might be classified as sort of an underground hit. But in the UK, it's been ranked as the 8th best pop song of all time.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Have you ever heard Joshua Radin's version of it?
No.
It's so pretty. I'll send it to you. It's on one of my Spotify playlists.
Maybe we'll put that in our newsletter this week.
I love him anyway.
So, somehow, I don't know how, but Ronald McDonald just wasn't getting the message, even though this was not a secret crush, not even close. And the Stein girls were very instrumental in orchestrating and publicizing my crush, but still nothing. And finally, I decided to do the bravest thing I've ever done in my whole entire life. And I called him and I boldly said, "It's time to check the box. Do you like me or not?" And he said no.
Oh, that hurts.
I couldn't believe it. He was just like, no.
But can we
How
just
did he
stop
not
for a
like
second?
you? You were adorable.
I agree. I was adorable.
But this is monumental. I mean, this is why Kristen is sometimes on a pedestal for me. The balls it took for you to pick up the phone and call.
Can you believe it?
I'm a senior in high school. Well, I have a boyfriend at this point, but I'd still be a note with the little boxes. I would not have the confidence it took to pick up that phone. So whether or not he's saying yes or no to you, Kristen, that is a moment that defined who you were and are.
It really did. You're right, Carolyn, because I'm not so sure that I had the confidence, but sometimes the difference between, what they say, what is courage? Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. And I think that's what it was. I was terrified, but I knew I had to do it. And so I remember sitting on my couch with the phone in my lap, just being like,
oh, man.
Who answered when you called? Did he answer the phone or did you?
No, he didn't. His mom did. His mom answered the phone and I had
did
to,
you
I
say,
almost said
"Hi,
his name.
This is Kristen Nilsson. Is Ronald McDonald there?
Is Ronald McDonald home? May I please speak
Grimace
to Ronald
answered.
McDonald? Yeah. And she said, "Just a minute, please." So, when he says no, I tried to be super casual and chill. And I said, okay, whatever. And we chit-chatted. And I was like, so what are you getting hot lunch tomorrow? I'm just trying to act like I don't care. But once I hung up, the dam broke. And I put my 45 of Truly by Lionel Richie on my record player. And I cried. And I cried, and I cried, and when the song ended, I picked up the needle and I set it back down on the record at the beginning again, and I did this 11 times in a row. It took 11 Trulies to get all the crying out.
Oh.
And it's very clear I was using music to process my emotions.
It's music therapy.
11 times.
There's a whole major in that now. You know, you can go to school for music therapy for a reason. There's a reason.
I could write a whole paper on Truly by
Aw.
Lionel Richie. Thank you, Lionel Richie, for helping me through that very difficult moment. See how I got 2 songs in there?
Preface all of my songs with the fact that they're going to be, I think, wildly different than the choices of my co-hosts. Kristen last night shared her 1983 playlist with us. And you guys, I told her in a text, I said, I'm not sure we would have been friends in 1983. And I certainly would probably have not been attending any concerts with you.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's so
I had
interesting.
some different choices. So I'm going to share my first one with you guys. And it is Allentown by Billy Joel. And
Really? Okay.
My co-hosts are just nodding.
No, I
Not
do
really
like that song. And that is a timestamp for me, too. Like, I can feel the time and the place and where I am when
Right.
that song
And
is
I think
playing.
place, for me, plays a very big part in this because at this point I live right outside of Philadelphia and not very far from Allentown. And it was just the grittiness of it. I think Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, those kind of, they really, they really love their image of hardworking, scrappy. We don't do it the easy way. And that's kind of how I lived. So living outside of Philadelphia, this song was on the radio a lot, and I loved Billy Joel. I think and at the time, it was almost the antithesis of some of the music we've previously talked about. I mean, this wasn't a flashy Prince or a made-up, Boy George or this dazzling Michael Jackson. This was Billy Joel telling it like it is. And,
at the piano.
And we prided ourselves on that in where I lived. So Allentown will always be that kind of a memory for me. It transports me. I go back for some reason to my high school cafeteria. That's where I am when I think that this song is so impactful for me because it really describes kind of the ethos of the area where I lived and what we thought of who we were.
And then you had to leave that area.
Yes, I had to leave. Oh, no. Shoot.
And she froze again.
She's like,
Okay, yes.
Oh, there she is.
This is crazy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You have hit the nail on the head there, Kristen. And then I had to leave. And I wasn't just going, over to New York or Connecticut. I was going to Texas. This was going to be a huge change.
Yeah.
So,
the difference in culture, the difference in people between those two places, and the way that you told people that you were from New Jersey, you were clinging to an identity.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Wait, Carolyn, this is edit this out, but question, you said that was like such a hard move for you. Like you were crushed because you had to leave your friends. Weren't you going to college in Texas anyway?
No. And I don't know if you didn't know that story, but my mom, I was going to be going to school in New York, but my mom said I could not because it was too far away when they were moving. So I had to find a college in Texas.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah. May of my senior year of high school, I went in to my guidance counselor and I applied to 3 schools and I said, whoever accepts me first. So I applied to TCU, SMU, and Trinity. Never heard of the school a day in my life. Heard back from Trinity first. I was like, fuck it, whatever, I'll go there.
I'm so sorry. So not only are you having this very horrible move, you're everything you've envisioned since you knew you were going to New York, I am a little bit upset at Lillian for that decision.
I am too. I know. Mm-hmm.
But you guys, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if it wasn't for that move because
that's right.
We have Andy and all of that.
Okay.
Michelle. Okay.
Oh, Michelle.
It's my turn. Okay, you guys, if you guys listening can actually feel my passion and my feelings coming through any device you're listening on, I will not be surprised because all of my favorite Duran Duran songs had been released by the end of 1983. So I honestly could fill my entire list with Duran Duran songs, but don't worry, I did not. I have instead devised a workaround to get 3 songs into this one spot. Here's how we do it. As luck would have it, my favorite Duran Duran song was actually released in November of 1983. So we're coming in at the getting in the clutch, right, or something like that. My second
Under the wire.
Under the wire. I think there's an expression like coming in clutch. Anyway,
wait, did it
ask my daughter?
It do 83 or 82?
83. So because we've been given this year of 1983, right? So as luck would have it, my favorite Duran Duran song was actually released in November of 1983. My second and fourth favorite songs charted in 1983. But honestly, after my number one song, they all pretty much tie. And if you don't get all that, it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to hold a Duran Duran 101 class right after the episode for anyone who wants to stick around, because right now I'm going to be focusing on my feelings. So, my number one 1983 song and my very favorite Duran Duran song, which is a little like choosing a child, is The Reflex, which was released on November 21st, 1983 on the very incredible album Seven and the Ragged Tiger. I'm holding it up right now. And you guys, I want to show you, this is not my album because this is 1983, so I didn't go buy an album. What did I buy instead?
You got a cassette tape.
I want everyone to look at my cassette tape. And hopefully if this segment's on YouTube, you guys can see this too. But Carolyn and Kristen, could you tell what tape this is?
No, because all of the words are rubbed off. I'm scared about what you were doing with that cassette tape, Michelle.
All of the words are rubbed off, and there's still a little piece of masking tape that says Michelle S. I must have turned it in for like something for them to play. You guys, it's played so much that it's all worn off. I don't even know where to begin with this song because I have so many feelings. The opening, ta-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na, and then the reflex, flex, 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 and then the drums, do-do-do-do-do. You guys, I want to cry every time I hear it, and that has a lot to do with seeing them perform that song live on February 3rd, 1984 in Seattle, Washington, my very first concert. I'm wearing my t-shirt right now. This is not actually the t-shirt, but it's a replica I found on eBay because my t-shirt would never fit me now. You guys, when the drums hit, Simon, John, and Andy did this big synchronized jump forward before starting to sing, "You've gone too far this time, but I'm dancing." And Simon is insanely dreamy in this song. I swear I'm 14 again every time I hear it. And as luck would have it, they filmed the concert performance, not my performance I was at on February 3rd, but another one on the same tour, for the official video. So I can watch it anytime I want to on YouTube. God bless YouTube. And lucky you listeners, because I'm putting it in this week's Weekly Reader because I love this song so much, and most especially this performance so much, and I have to share it with all of you because I have to have you see the beginning where when the drums hit, they do this synchronized jump forward. It will give you nipple lightning for the rest of your life. I'm so passionate about this song and this video, you guys. I can't even tell you. And then quickly, my second and fourth favorite Duran Duran songs charted in 1983, Is There Something I Should Know, came in at number 55 on the Hot 100 chart, and is I think the first Duran Duran video I remember seeing. It was the classic, you'd see it on MTV with your friend, and then you'd wait up all damn night until you could see it again, and then you'd wait another 3 hours until you could see it again. And we did the same with Hungry Like the Wolf, which charted at number 17 in 1983. Oh, sweet Jesus, to be the boy squeezing the sponge into Simon's mouth in Hungry Like the Wolf video. Holy shit. So since
that is the video that did it for me too.
Yeah.
Hungry Like the Wolf. I was just like, what is this?
The hats, Simon's glasses. So since we have yet to do a Duran Duran episode here at the Pop Culture Preservation Society, if you'd like to hear me gush and educate and get into the details of the songs and videos of the wonderful Rio album, I was a guest last spring on the Untitled GenX podcast, educating our GenX little sister, Lori, the host of that wonderful podcast, who had missed out on the whole Duran Duran boat because she was born in like 1979. And it's a really great conversation for Duran Duran fans to listen to. And I'm going to share the link to that podcast episode as well in this week's Weekly Reader.
Boom.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I can feel the enthusiasm coming through my screen right now.
You guys, so excited. I almost want to watch it with you. It's almost like, you guys, you know how we do these watch parties? We've done watch parties. Like, Kristen's so excited to watch, like, Purple Rain with us for the first time. I literally want my watch party to just be the Reflex video.
It's like 3 minutes. We're all going to gather together for 3 minutes.
And I'm going to wear my concert t-shirt. I have my ticket stub. Do you guys know it only cost me $13.50 to go to that concert in 1984?
I feel like we're getting so jacked right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about that.
I need to take a moment so someone else
Everybody
can
just take a breather.
Yeah. I'm going to go smoke a
we need
cigarette.
like a palate cleanser.
Just kidding.
Just
I don't
take
smoke.
it down. Okay, everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so my next category is called I'm a New Wave Girl. And that's because in 1983, music was changing, and I knew it. I took notice. I'm like, what is happening? It was just, you couldn't ignore it. It felt so radical and fresh, and songs mostly from these British bands or artists who invaded our... Let me start that again. And they were songs mostly from these British bands or artists who were invading our airwaves, like Michelle was talking about, the second British invasion. They weren't rock and roll and they weren't R&B, but they seemed to give me what I needed from both. Songs like Come On Eileen, Der Kommissar, Major Tom, She Blinded Me with Science. I used to say that Come On Eileen was my favorite song of all time, like of my whole life. But I changed my mind now. And I think that's because of First Wave Radio. I think First Wave Radio plays that song so often that it lost some of its luster for me. But the lyrics in Come On Eileen, like discovering what those actually are.
It's my
when you're
I'm sorry,
an
Krista,
adult.
it's my second song. I'm going to talk all about that. Can I not
okay.
talk about it? Oh, sorry.
Yep. I'll take all that out.
But when I say that, then you come in with agreeing with me because I talk about that, like how I was so many years old when I knew what it was. But then we'll have a discussion about it then. Is that okay if we do it then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Because that was just a comment.
Okay.
So my current favorite from the New Wave era is Big Country by Big Country, which I thought was on the album Big Country, but that's just wishful thinking. And it's actually also known as In a Big Country. This is the song, you guys, with the iconic bagpipe solo because they're from Scotland. I love the bagpipes in this song. So this is from Song Facts. Song Facts says, from its opening notes, In a Big Country bursts with fresh energy. The Celtic guitar parts produce a signature bagpipe sound as lead singer Stuart Adamson yelps, "Shaw!" I love it so much. Shaw! And the song is like urging the listeners to remain resilient. So in America, this was the only Big Country hit, really, of significance. It got a lot of airplay. It got a lot of radio play in Minnesota, in my area, but I don't think it did around the country. But it was a huge hit on MTV, just like a lot of these other British invasion songs. Got a lot of rotation on the video. Got a lot of rotation. So according to the lead singer, the lyrical idea from Big Country was about having hope, a sense of self in times of trouble. And he told a group of fans that his favorite lyrics from the song were, "I'm not expecting to grow flowers in a desert, but I can live and breathe and see the sun in winter time." And to me, that's exactly what I felt. This song felt so bright, and it made me want to dance a jig. I don't know if they do jigs in Scotland, but it's right next to Ireland, so I bet they do.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that was kind of their intention, was to make people feel like that. But there's sort of a haunting irony with this song. So when Big Country disbanded, his second marriage collapsed and the lead singer suffered from a deep depression. And his wife declared him missing in November of 2001. And the following month, he was found dead by suicide.
Oh.
The working title of Big Country, you guys, is Stay Alive. That's the working title of the song. And in concert, Stuart Adamson would often introduce the song with the words, "Stay alive." Wow. That's how he would introduce the song. And Song Facts says that reconciling the resilient message of that song with Adamson's eventual suicide was very difficult for fans. I never knew that.
It's almost like his fate was, he wrote his fate, you know?
Yes. It's spooky.
Decades before,
and yet it makes me treasure the song all the more. Like, I'm singing these words, but I wasn't listening to them. I wasn't listening to, I'm not expecting to grow flowers in a desert, but I can live and breathe and see the sun in wintertime. Now I hear it.
Maybe the Big Country to him was heaven. In a big country, dream.
I always thought it was Scotland.
Well, probably.
I just assumed.
But now I'm just, now I'm just reading into it more than I need to, but.
So R.I.P. Big Country, you made a big lasting impact on me in 1983.
I love that song. I'm going to ask you, I wanted to say something that prefaced all my choices that I didn't say early on. So I'm hoping if I say it now, we can clip it out and put it in.
We'll put it back in the middle. Yeah, yes. Go ahead.
And I think I can say it this way. So as Kristen has pointed out, 1983 had amazing, iconic songs. So to choose 3 to share, it's virtually impossible. So I had to give myself a little framework. So I made my choices based on what songs gave me the most visceral experience when listening to them now. Like I could feel myself being teleported back to a time where I'm in a particular place and I can see what's around me and I can smell what's around me. So those were my criteria for how I chose my songs.
Good. Mm-hmm. I
So
like
that
it.
explains, because they kind of, compared to yours, seem like a little bizarre choices, but it's because I'm somewhere in my real life back then when I hear these songs.
Well, and it gets very personal, right? It's
Right.
more than dissecting what a song is. Is it good? Is it bad? What do the lyrics say? It's very personal.
Yeah. Okay, so my second choice is Gloria by Laura Branigan. I loved that song.
I'm trying so hard not to sing. Like every time you guys say a song, I just want to like, Darling Gloria, and it just doesn't help.
Well, and that line is one of the reasons I love that song. This song I would belt out. This song, I'm by
Yay.
myself usually when I'm remembering it. I'm in the car, in the Buick LeSabre that I drove to school, and I'm just belting out because I could by myself in the car. Calling
Right.
Gloria!
Gloria, Gloria,
Gloria! Yes, and
Gloria.
that like staccato, kind of fun beat, it just, it lived in me. I loved that song. And I think to me, it was almost kind of an anthem. There was some kind of independence I felt when I sang it. Maybe it was because I yelled it out, and maybe because I have this memory of driving by myself in the car, but it really affects me like an anthem does. And it's not really about the lyrics. It's about that entire experience I had when being with this song. And it was sad. I looked up that Laura Branigan had several hits in 1983, and she passed away in 2004. She was only like 52 years old.
Isn't that sad?
Isn't that so sad?
Super young.
know.
Oh no.
Yeah, isn't it though?
And I can picture her. She was one of those people that was not super comfortable on stage. Like she was a little awkward in her movements, and yet nobody seemed to care. And everybody just loved going, Gloria, Gloria.
Well,
Saying, Carolyn, Carolyn.
Oh,
na, 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 na,
works.
Carolyn, na, na, the area. That you live in, na, na, na. I always thought they were, I know these lyrics aren't correct, but I always thought she was asking for the area code because she's asking for the number, and then you get the area, and I know that's not right.
yeah.
But I just figured Laura Branigan needed to know the full phone number because, in those days we just used the 7 numbers.
That's right. Okay, there you go. So Laura Branigan, whatever.
All right.
Just we'll know where to chop it off there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kristen,
Carolyn,
or
Carolyn.
no, it's
Michelle.
Michelle.
Michelle,
It's your turn.
Okay, my second song is one Kristen just mentioned, and that is Come On Eileen. And Come On Eileen for me is in a deadlock tie with Karma Chameleon. You guys, I wasn't kidding about all my favorites from 1983 being British invasion bands. Both of those songs give me the same exact feeling. Anytime they come on one of my playlists, which is often, it raises my mood. I'm gleeful. I feel light. I'm happy. But I'm going to talk about Come On Eileen today because, you guys, this is a song that's been one of my very favorites for 48 years that I still only know about 10 words of.
You got to look them up. You'll die. You'll die.
I know.
When you see what they're
I know.
saying. Yeah.
But from the Celtic Fiddle Open, and then what happens? The drums and the bass. 48 years of nipple lightning. I'll just say it right now. And honestly, as a song that I have not ever been able to do more than kind of bumble along to, I really can't explain why I've loved it for so long, but I think it's like what I just said before. It's the tune, the melody, the music, the spirit of it. It's just all for me. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. I love it so much. And I want to ask you guys a couple of things, speaking of the lyrics, fun facts. And you probably, Kristen probably does know this. And actually, Carolyn, you probably do too. But do you know who Johnny Ray is?
I just learned
Johnny
this, actually.
Ray. Until like
Just
this
now.
week,
Like,
I
I
thought it was
haven't
Johnny
known.
Roy
Yeah.
because of their accent. So Johnny Ray is, he was an American singer, songwriter, and pianist, and was highly popular for most of the 1950s. Johnny Ray's been cited by critics as a major precursor to what became rock and roll. He had jazz and blues influenced music. And you guys, I just feel like such an idiot. that makes the video make a lot more sense because I loved this video. The whole first like 30 seconds is black and white footage of Johnny Ray. They actually have it on their shoes. He's getting off the airplane. The girls are all screaming.
Oh my God.
I just was like not. So the lyrics say, poor old Johnny Ray sounded sad up on the radio, moved a million hearts in mono. Our mothers cried, sang along, who would blame them? Do you guys, don't I do well? Now I'm going to remember that so I can memorize it. So what the hell is this song about, right? Comes from AmericanSongwriter.com. Come On Eileen spins off from that basic concept to articulate the youthful urge for separation from an older generation, hoping to indoctrinate these youngsters into their tired society. Poor old Johnny Ray sounded sad up on the radio. He's kind of lamenting back to what his mom, the moms went through, everything. And then AmericanSongwriter.com says, Roland, the singer, name checks weepy 50s crooner Johnny Ray at the beginning of the song to symbolize the kind of sorrow that hangs over the entire scene he wishes to escape. These people around here, he sings, wear beaten down eyes sunk in smoke-dried faces, so resigned to what their fate is. You could have paid me $14 billion and I would never have known that's what it says.
Nope.
He promises Eileen that their fate will be different. No, not us. We are far too young and clever. And then, of course, he wants to take her dress off and he wants them to be naked.
Young and clever.
You guys,
I got that part.
Having literally last night watched the video now with this whole thing in mind, I have an entirely new appreciation for the song.
Can you stop for just a second,
Yeah.
Michelle? Okay, never mind. Grace was screaming my name, and so I didn't want that to... Oh, but now she just realized.
Mommy's working!
I said...
Yes. Okay, sorry.
I'm going to say, having now watched the video, having done this research, why haven't I done it decades before? I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. But with this in mind, I have an entirely new appreciation for this song. I mean, why didn't I do a deep dive into it decades ago? I loved this video. I mean, the overalls, they're all in overalls. I love
That's
overalls.
my style right now.
I love
like the dirty overalls. And the thing in like the little bandana in your hair. I think that's what set my style for the rest of my life. So that and Apollonia, right? Just
I would encourage you to watch the video, watch the lyric video sometime because that's the one I pulled up. So the lyrics are going across the bottom because still, I can look at these lyrics for the next 10 years and I'm never going to remember them.
It's hard to.
I'm still going to bumble this song. Yeah. Right. AmericanSongwriter.com wonders if it's the greatest one-hit wonder of all time. They say, there's nothing wrong with having one hit when it's as memorable as Come On Eileen. You'll hum this tune forever. Which I love. They said that.
I think
You'll hum
that's
this tune
brilliant. It is. It's the best. It's the best one-hit wonder of all time. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
The line that I love because it's not something you could ever make out, but when you do know the words, it's like a little puzzle. You in that dress, my thoughts I confess, virgin dirty. It's brilliant. You in that dress, my thoughts I confess,
virgin dirty.
Dirty.
I've always thought it's which are dirty.
That's poetry. That's poetry.
Listeners, it was virgin dirty. Like they were. It was a virgin.
Well,
like a dirty version.
This song played a big role in another one of our old episodes, which is so great. Go back and listen to it. I believe it would have been fall of 2022 or 21. I'm not sure, but it's misheard lyrics. And one of my favorites is someone thought it was "Come On Eileen, oh I smell like green beans."
There was a whole list of "Come On Eileens."
Oh, there are. Oh, yeah. Just go.
There was a whole list of
you guys Google misheard lyrics "Come On Eileen" and you'll get taken to a whole bunch of sites. It's so funny. So we all love that. We can all agree on that one, though, right? Mm-hmm. We all love it.
God, the overalls. I love the dirty overalls.
I know.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, my next pick is still in the category of I'm a new wave girl, and I think it segues really nicely with Come On Eileen, and that is Goody Two Shoes by Adamant. This was another example of a song that was a sign that something was changing. And I put Adamant in the same category as Boy George, just flamboyant at all costs. I'm doing things my way. And just look at me. Everybody look at me. Look at me. They were like screaming for people to look at them. And they just dared you to judge them. I dare you to judge. Mm-hmm. So I remember Goody Two Shoes from the 9th grade school dance. And it's probably the hardest I've ever danced in my whole life. To this song, I threw my body around like a rag doll. I was just drenched and sweaty, and my ponytail was all askew. It was the last dance of junior high, and it felt like we were leaving everything behind. I was just leaving it all on the floor, right? Like I could do what I wanted, like Adam Ant, right? I was just doing whatever I wanted. And I didn't have to worry about embarrassing myself. Any songs that you couldn't fit into your top 3? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is where we're cheating now because we just can't. We couldn't fit them all in, but we're going to fit them all in. So we're going to pretend that we didn't fit them in.
Yeah, I won't tell you. I'm not going to tell you why or anything. You'll know why just based on what. So my runners up were all the Duran Duran songs, the entire catalog. Yeah. And then they were Wham Rap, which I can still sing to this day. And my both of my girls can sing all the words. We're all very proud of that. Actually, the whole fantastic album, Bad Boys, Club Tropicana, just such great songs. Make It Big had not been released yet. So, but that whole Wham! Fantastic album, I love. Never Gonna Let You Go by Sergio Mendes. Such a beautiful song. And you guys, that one charted really high.
I did.
Make up for the times I heard you so.
That was probably on my sad soundtrack. When I was
for
crying
sure.
in my room.
On your bed.
It's on. I have one of my favorite playlists is all my kind of cheesy 70s, 80s ballads, and it's called just like Mellow or something. And believe me, that song is on it. Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. Oh gosh, we loved that song.
Iconic. That's a great karaoke song too.
I love it. Yeah. Another one on my list.
You need one person to do the turnaround part.
Yeah. Stray Cats Strut. I loved the Stray Cats. I love all of Stray Cats music. Yes. I love, we've talked about this before, I think in our 1976 episode, oddly, but because that's when everybody was kind of throwing it back to the 50s. And I think I shared how obsessed I was with that whole 50s culture. So when the Stray Cats came on the scene, I loved everything about them. Rock This Town, Stray Cats Strut. I love I Won't Stand in Your Way. It's such a beautiful, like, 50s ballad. Oh, God, I love that song. And then the last one on my runners-up was Culture Club. Well, I'd already mentioned Karma Chameleon had tied in my top 3, but Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? I still to this day, love that song.
Yeah. You know what my favorite Culture Club song is? Time. And what is in the parentheses? I don't even know. Yeah. Clock of the Heart?
Clock of the Heart, yeah.
That's that perfect marriage of, like, of British invasion and dance beat. I could listen to that song over and over again and throw myself around like a rag doll. Mm-hmm. I love that one. Or Church of the Poison Mind. That one's a good one too.
I have that on vinyl. I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will now share some of mine. This one I wanted to be in my top 3, so it's going to be my honorable mention top 4. It's You Can't Hurry Love by Phil Collins.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you why. This was, you just talked about a perfect meld of musics. This was Diana Ross and the Supremes, who I worshipped, and Phil Collins. How often can a song just come on the radio and you know every single word to that song? I knew every single word to Phil Collins' song. Because in where I grew up, on Saturday nights, one of the radio stations played, basically it was like Motown Saturday night, like golden oldies.
Cool.
And we were addicted to that. That's what we played at parties. So I could sing every Diana Ross and the Supreme song. I had every iteration of their anthology album, from the album to the 8-track to the cassette. I loved like Build You Up Buttercup, all of those kind of songs. And so imagine the feeling of Phil Collins, who I also loved and worshipped, and he is singing this Diana Ross and the Supreme song, and it's so happy, and I know every single word. No misheard lyrics in that one for me. Gosh, darn it.
Not a Come On Eileen for you.
Song. Oh, he really did honor that song.
I think he did too, and I loved it. Other songs that I will share with you from that time that are memorable. I don't know, once again, favorite just doesn't really jive with me, but that are memorable and I can go somewhere, would be Mickey by Tony Basil, Truly, True, Stray Cat Strut, Little Red Corvette, Every Breath You Take, Billy Joel's Uptown Girl, you know, that video with Christy Brinkley.
In the garage.
Married. I mean, God, isn't that wild? Rock the Casbah and I'll Tumble For Ya.
I'll tumble for ya. I'll tumble for ya.
Yeah. Probably because they only say I'll tumble for you for most of the song. Right. So I know most of the words. I really like to know the words that I'm singing. That's really important to me. So sometimes, usually I get along anyway, but...
And that's why, so I'm not rap music is not for me at all. It's just not for me. I appreciate everything about, the writing and all that stuff, but that's one reason that I've always been so puffed up that I know all the words to Wham rap, because it's so not actually, but it goes really fast and there's a million words and I'm singing them so fast, and I always feel like I'm rapping when I sing Wham rap.
I'm trying to get one line out from Wham rap and I can't even do it. I can't even start. All I've got is I am a man.
I am a man.
And I just want to
maybe I'll record myself doing it.
Oh yeah,
I'm
for
just
sure.
realizing how much I listen to older songs, like Simon and Garfunkel. That was on repeat when I was in high school. I could sing every song on that greatest hits. I could sing The Boxer, I can, all of those. And so I don't know how much that influenced, some of the big songs in 1983 when I was spending my time choosing what to listen to, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a lot of this older music.
And were you, here's a question for you. Were your friends also listening to oldies, or was it just you?
No, we were all, like I said, the Saturday radio was playing that. My boyfriend at the time really liked Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So, even our song is a song from them back in the whatever 70s. So a lot of the things we listened to were kind of older, or at least my friends, a little bit older generation, which is why I think maybe I knew all the songs that you guys are talking about, and I think MTV had a lot to do with that. But if I had to say words or songs I knew all the words to and were on repeat in my life, it would probably be these other artists that I've mentioned.
I feel like there's a little bit of there's an East Coast thing to that, listening to older music, because I would visit in the summertime. I would visit my relatives on the East Coast, and these are boarding school people too. So these were elite intellectuals, and yet they would listen to some music that I was like, wait, what? That's from 20 years ago, or that's burnout music. And it just goes to show that region has a lot to do with what you listen to and what you think is cool. And what I would think of as burnout music is what the intellectuals were listening to on the East Coast. It's fascinating to me.
Well, I'm just sitting up a little taller because you just compared me to an intellectual on the East Coast.
I'm not comparing you to an intellectual. You are an intellectual.
She's saying you are an intellectual.
Okay, I have two that I want to add to the list really quickly. The first one is Pass the Dutchie. Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side.
That's another one that's the only part I know.
Yeah, I know. I can't sing anything besides that. So Pass the Dutchie is a bus song for me. When you get on the bus and somebody has a boom box, and now we've got Pass the Dutchie, and you're having fun with your friends on the bus, and this is the soundtrack to having fun. And of course, nobody knew what a Dutchie was. And after a while, you're like, oh, it has to do with pot, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we said in the 80s. We said it has to do with pot. So I decided to dig a little deeper. And maybe I'm late to the party on this and everybody already knows, but this is a cover. So it's by Musical Youth. They were children, and they were covering a song that was by adults that was called Pass the Coochie. And the coochie is a pot pipe. I don't know what they call pot pipe today. That's such an 80s word. And so they're like, well, when these kids are singing this song, they can't say pass the pot pipe. What are we going to do? And somehow they come up with Dutchie, and it really does refer to a Dutch oven. Pass the Dutch oven to the left-hand side. Why are you passing a pot? It is. It is. Yes, that's what they say.
Isn't it literally say, jump rope? Because isn't there, Dutch?
That's double Dutch.
Yeah.
Double Dutch,
so I thought maybe,
See, I was thinking Dutch oven, when someone, you fart in bed and then you pull the covers over the other person's head.
Oh, Dutch oven?
Yeah.
Oh, I learned something new today.
Okay, a pot pipe today would be called a vape pen, I think.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Basically.
Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. Okay, and then the other song that I want to bring up is, I know that I said that Big Country is my number one song of 1983, but really I think this is my number one song of 1983, and it didn't even get in. I know, I'm so confused. This is just very confusing.
Sorry, listeners, we have to re-record this.
Know.
We're starting over,
okay,
so sit tight.
I know.
Grab a snack.
And this one has to do with a dance I learned from a very famous choreographer in Chicago named Gus Giordano. And he taught the choreography to a song, Talk Talk by Talk Talk. Notice I did Big Country by Big Country and Talk Talk by Talk Talk. Oh my God, talk about throwing myself around like a rag doll. I adore Talk Talk. To this day, I adore Talk Talk.
Could you remind me of the song?
Sing some of it.
All you do to me is talk, talk. Talk, talk, talk. All you do to me is talk, talk. Okay, you're gonna listen to it.
I know the band
I'm gonna play it
Talk
for you.
Talk, but I don't. That song isn't sounding familiar to me.
We're gonna
I
play
didn't see
it for
it
you
on
right
any
now.
of the lists from all the 1983 songs either.
Well, okay, this is a good example of a song. It came out in November of 1982. It didn't get to me until 1983. I went to Chicago to take these classes in February of 1983, and that's when he taught us this dance. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Get ready for the good part. Here it comes.
So it sounds like
There are no looks of familiarity on your
Not yet.
faces at all. Wait till we get to the chorus. We'll get you to the chorus.
Or the
and we'll
hook.
see if
The hook's
there's a
gonna
little
get me.
spark.
Oh yeah, that part I remember, but it's not super familiar to me.
Oh, you know what? I'm embarrassed to say how I know that. I'm pretty sure that somebody probably saying that about me to me, like, all you do is talk, and I see these little
God.
things going.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think that's how it was used for me. So I do know the words, but yeah, there you go.
Well, okay, coincidentally, or ironically, I guess, the whole song is about the singer's social anxiety and his torment in social situations, because communication, particularly talking, he talked about this in his songs all the time, about how he didn't like talking. He was notoriously terse and sort of elusive in interviews and things like that. So Talk Talk was supposed to be the next Duran Duran. They thought all they need to do is get with the right audience, and they'll be the next Duran Duran. So they put them on tour with Duran Duran. They opened up for Duran Duran. But this guy would not play ball. He's like, no, I'm not cozying up to the audience. I'm not talking to the media. I'm not doing any of that. And, because all you want to do is talk, talk. And so clearly they did not become the next Duran Duran. But this song it was a huge club hit. It's still a big club hit. And it's sort of an underground cult hit as well. For me, it feels like the moment that I'm in a dance studio with one of the most famous choreographers in the world. And so you'd think that after hearing a song for hundreds of times, that you do it over and over and over again, that you would get sick of it. But the opposite is actually true. Every time you do it and you do the things with your body, it's like the song gets into your cells. And I'll love it forevermore.
Aww.
Well, can we see the dance?
Oh, I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
Not even close. No. But you know what's so funny is, and we'll take this part out, but one time I was like, I'm just going to see if there's any choreography of Gus Giordano's on YouTube. So there is. I mean, there's lots, but there's also a videotape that he made in 1983, which would have been when I was there. And so it's a class teaching his warm up. And that YouTube video is so 1983. You can't even stand it. The leotards that people are wearing, the headbands that people are wearing, the style. You don't realize how of an era certain styles of dance are until you watch these people. It's like the most serious Jane Fonda aerobics video you've ever seen in your whole life. It's awesome. It's so awesome.
Kristen, you know who did become the next Duran Duran?
Who?
Duran Duran, because they are still killing it.
They really are, actually.
Oh,
Look
there's
at
a whole
them.
Peloton ride. How about
They
I
that?
know. I guess I have to get a Peloton now.
Good. They just won't
Yes,
quit,
they're still
man.
killing it. I mean, they were on New Year's Eve, Clark's New Year's Eve this year.
Well,
and
let's
sounded
talk about our
amazing,
little-
by the way.
How about our little reboots and these artists that are coming back around that we loved in our teens? And I'm sure they've always been on the radar, but now it's like, oh, we're all trying to recapture
Yes.
these memories.
Yeah.
especially Michelle Duran. So,
Well, sadly, some of you listeners might remember the reason I have this T-shirt I'm wearing. I got it is because we were going to their concert this in September, August. It was August. The saddest things of my life, and we had a tornado warning because it was an outside venue and it got canceled. And I walked back and forth by their buses doing my sad Charlie Brown walk, like, please notice me in your original
remember, you're
1984
supposed to
tour
pretend
shirt.
you had you're supposed to pretend you sprained your ankle or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Whatever.
That's right,
Help
listeners.
me.
Carolyn was texting
Help me.
I was like, I'm doing a sad Charlie Brown walk outside the tour buses right now. They were not the tour buses of the four members of Duran Duran right now. There's not 5 anymore. There's 4. But, well, there is still a guitar player. He's just not one of the originals. But I'm sure it was like all the backup singers and the roadies. But Carolyn texts me, pretend you like break your ankle and like you have to go and like, somebody help me.
Well, that's what I did for Barry. If you remember,
so
then I was like
good.
limping,
Yeah.
and I had to sit on the curb right in
We
front
can't
of
go
him.
home because of her
can't.
ankle.
Her ankle.
Otherwise, we would leave.
We
But
were
we can't.
looking like somebody was going to come pick us up. Like that's what we're told someone
Uber.
to pick up.
I mean, the ambulance. Where's the ambulance? Oh my God.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of bring it on home. And we can still converse a little bit here, but otherwise this is the conclusion. I feel so lucky to have been a teenager in 1983, to be primed for music at this moment when the radio gave us something so new and so different. It fed our creative souls. Whether you were a creative or not, it didn't matter. We all felt freed in some way by this crazy new wave sound and all of the new things that were coming. The clothes, the hair, the makeup. It was like nothing was off limits. Even if you went to school every day in your preppy sweaters and your dock ciders, you still felt the energy of this rebellion. And we were also, we haven't talked about this too much, you guys, but it can't be ignored. We were also the guinea pigs, the first consumers of pop music's greatest artists of all time. Or maybe I should say the biggest artists of all time. We talked about the king of pop, but 1983 is also when we're dipping our toes into the kingdom of the material girl. 1983 is when Holiday is released. I think Lucky Star was released in 1983. And she wasn't quite there yet, but people were listening. I had Holiday. I had the record. I think it was the last vinyl I ever bought was Holiday. And anyway, okay.
Oh, do you want us to talk about Madonna for a while?
If
No,
you
let's
want
not.
to.
That's a whole nother thing. No, let's
Yeah,
not.
that's another thing.
Yeah.
That's another thing. So if you were a teenager in 1983, consider this. What songs do you associate with happy memories? Make a list, then make a playlist, and call it therapy. Because these songs absolutely have therapeutic value for you. It is medicine. And how lucky are we that the music of our youth was so distinct, so unique to its time and place, so historic, and frankly, I'm just going to say it, so much better than the music of anyone else's youth. Besides like the dawn of rock and roll or something. Although if I had to choose, I would choose ours. Thank you, everybody, for listening today, and enjoy that playlist.
And speaking of playlists, okay, I'm going to say this, but you guys can tell me if we
Okay.
don't want to include it. Because I would like, well, here's what I'm going to say. I would like us to include a link to each of our 1983 playlists. I made one last night after yours,
Excellent
Kristen.
job.
I don't have one
Michelle,
yet.
I don't know if you've made,
I don't have
if
one
you
yet.
want to make one. And then we
Make
could
one?
say we'll put the links of those in the Weekly Reader. Or is that?
We could think of comparing and contrasting those lists.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
You'll say, get your grandma to listen to Carolyn. But, okay. So is that okay, Michelle, for you to do that?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Make a
Of all your
1983 list?
contenders.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said, thanks for listening today and enjoy that playlist. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you would like to enjoy our 1983 playlists, you can find a link to each, mine, Kristen, and Michelle's 1983 playlist in our Weekly Reader. That is our email newsletter that gets to you every Friday. And we also include things like what we're reading, what we're listening to, and some of the shows that we're watching. So if you are not already subscribed, you can sign up at our website, poppreservationists.com, or at the link in our bio on Instagram.
And Carolyn, you're talking about not just the songs from this episode, but like all of the contenders that we considered.
Yeah,
Which
like
ones
that
are
list
we going
you
to choose?
Yeah, you had like 29 on your list
did.
last
Yeah,
night.
like I might have
So-
a list of like 25 songs or something like that. Yeah.
And I think, listeners, this is going to be really fascinating for you to compare and contrast these books. You'll see how distinct each one of them is. It's like a game. Then tell us what you think.
It
Then
is.
analyze
Michelle
us.
just puts all the Duran Duran albums on her.
Right. It's all Duran Duran.